Welcome to the DMF. I'm Justin Younts. This is part four. If
Yeah,
we so politicians are supposed to be about what can we get done in the community, what can we do? You should be caring about what they're doing and hold them to that. That to me is what needs to happen is we need to know about the
yeah.
policies and hold them to that. If they don't do that, then that's where they should pay the political price of like not doing it. And that seems like that's like four rungs down of like, oh yeah, didn't do the actual things they said they were gonna do. Yeah, that's four.
Yeah.
So that was the one question I would have. Did you ask
But
them that?
it's funny because actually there was an interview that didn't make to the cut, which actually was people that were supporting Trump. That I loved that interview, but I
Yeah,
couldn't put it there because then after I traveled with these people making the
yeah,
documentary, then they start coming after me and they were like threatening me with lawsuits. The people that were helping me to find the people to
really.
interview. So there was all this drama happening as soon as after I finished the filming and I was editing and we were trying to put together an agreement to give them a
Did they not
role.
understand that? Like it's you're trying to what you're trying to do is like this is what New Yorkers say. So
Yeah.
that
The
is
pr-
going to include some
no,
Trump
no, 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 but
help.
they were fine with that. It wasn't that.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, okay.
no, they just wanted to bully me into doing things, these people. So, and that's something that is very common with the movie industry when you're
Yeah.
making a movie independent. Like I talk to everybody, and everybody has that kind of story when they try to make their movie independent, whether it's a short or something. There, everybody has that story of someone that was trying to come after them, and these people. So that what was happening. So after I was still editing, like I paid everything on my own. It was all my
Yeah.
equipment. It was I was the director, the sound designer, the editor, everything. But these people wanted to tell me what to do, and they said because originally this was supposed to be a feature documentary, then
Yeah.
eventually it became a series. But so I was like, okay, what you do, you make a documentary, then you send it to film festivals. That's how it works. You
Yeah.
send it to festival and then hoping for distribution and that kind of stuff.
And that's you kind of originally did that, and then you
Yeah.
decided to make it into a mini series. Is that kind of how
Yes.
this?
So yeah, and then he got into like a smaller film festival, obviously because it's controversial. It's not something that everybody wants to support, questioning those things, as we were saying.
Yeah.
But these people, so they wanted to, they because I found them online. There were all these Cuomo supporting groups online, and they
Yeah.
all had a rivalry against each other. So they were doing things. So it became like this horrible thing. They technically were supporting Cuomo, but actually they were doing it because, again, fame. They wanted to be the one saving Cuomo. It wasn't about really helping him cleaning his reputation. It was about just being the one. And so there were all these different groups, and that's what I was learning when I was traveling with them. I was like, okay, this is a little crazy. Like we're here because there are problems in this country. Like it's Cuomo is one case, but how many times there are like these situations like Cuomo? Like we need to have give due process
Can
to
you
people.
can you give an example of like one of the things that they were kind of like demanding that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so
without
that
getting into legal?
no, no, it happened very quick, and they wanted to put it on social media. They didn't want me to send it to festivals. They
Wow.
wanted the documentary to be released right away, and they wanted to put it on Facebook so where people could watch it right away for free. Which again, if you do it, even if you do it,
That
then festivals
disqualifies if yeah,
for
festivals won't show
festivals,
it.
everything. So they were accusing me of being like a scam director, telling me that like I just wanted to win awards. I was not in it for this, but it was actually them were having this. So, and I wanted to send it to Tribeca, like a bigger
Yeah.
festival. So
Or
I
New
was
York
trying,
Film Festival.
and
Yeah,
we're
that's the one I was. That's
yeah,
the one I was on.
and I was filming this at the end of October, so it's right now. It's the
Yeah.
anniversary when I was filming it, and Tribeca, the deadline was at the end of January. So I did the editing like in 2 3 months,
Yeah.
getting the music done from someone else, color correction, editing, sound design, everything. I did
Yeah.
this like in like 4 or 5 months. But then, right before 2 nights before the deadline for Tribeca, one of the people we interviewed, she sent me an email threat, which she was not even in that conversation. So these people might have talked to her to let
Yeah.
them know what was happening, that we were fighting and we were meeting, trying to talk, understand. And every time it was like I had a week, I had to take it off from work because we were just like on the phone every time texting, and they were like, oh, we want this, we want that, but they were not clear on what they wanted. And so, and the day after, okay, we got into an agreement for this, and then the day after they were like, no, actually this and that. So it was like this horrible roller coaster. I was put for a week, and then turns out they didn't even read the agreement I put together. So there was all this crazy stuff. And then 2 nights before the deadline for Tribeca, I get an email from this person. That was one of the people we interviewed in the documentary, threatening me with lawsuits if I didn't agree to what they wanted. So at that point, and this
Did
at
you
this
have
point,
them sign releases when you interviewed them?
yeah. So this person signed the release for sure,
Yeah.
and but this was like 2 days before the deadline. It was obvious that they were trying to do this so that I would not make the deadline for Tribeca. And that's all they cared. They wanted to, because they know I cared about doing that, which again, yeah, it's important. But again, it's my first feature documentary. It's controversial. What are the chances that Tribeca is going to even pick it up anyway?
But the fact
So,
that they're already sabotaging, I mean, you're already up against a mountain as it is, and now
yeah.
they're like, here you go, here's a couple. Now we'll throw rocks at you while you're
Yeah,
going up the
that's
mountain.
how I started. So already it was difficult even to find people to interview because also he resigned. So the people that hated him didn't want to talk because they already got what they wanted. And I wanted to hear from everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but
So
anyway,
wait,
so
so people who didn't like Cuomo didn't want to talk.
no, they didn't want to talk. And then we were trying to get some people. But again, because they're like, why would I be on camera when they already got that he resigned at this point? So, but again, so then overnight, I changed 40 minutes of the documentary because I removed that person and I had to remove another couple that they were Italians and they were so funny and they were Trump supporters. So they were the only Trump supporter there that I had. I had to remove them because they were friends of another person that was threatening me. So I didn't want to risk, okay, now what this person is threatening me because it's their friend, and now I'm gonna go through this again. So I was like, I'm gonna remove these 2 interviews and see what happens, but I want to make my deadline for Tribeca. So overnight, I changed 40 minutes of the documentary overnight. And then at that point, obviously, I didn't have the color correction and the sound done there. So then I just emailed them and said, this is like a work in progress. Obviously, it's not finished, and you can do that. But at least I made my deadline, so
Yeah.
I got my job done
But
with
I
all
mean,
this was
just
up.
shame on them for doing that. I mean, you're doing all this on your own. You're doing you went to all these message boards. You're doing all this. You're coming up with this. You're doing a difficult subject matter,
Yeah,
and
with
then
money that I don't have.
with
So
money you don't have, and you're subject to this thing. Wow, that's
yeah, and
so
it was
so.
not over there. So at this point, then got my lawyer. I got a lawyer at that point because anyway I was like trying to get a
Yeah,
lawyer to deal with them, and
which
that
is
by the
hard. Now you got to now pay a lawyer where
which I didn't have money, of course.
you
I
don't
had
have
to
money.
ask
Yeah,
help from my parents and
yeah.
just to pay for the lawyer because at this point, like we were trying to get the lawyer to mediate and to get into agreement what we wanted. But at that point, by just because it takes time to get a lawyer and to
And
talk to
that's
him.
something that I think is frustrating about this country is you, depending on how much money they have, they can prolong the case. They can prolong, how long they can drag things out because they have
Yeah,
the money to do it and
yeah.
forcing
But
you
luckily
to
they
do
didn't.
paperwork. Yeah, no,
Luckily
I'm
they
glad.
didn't, and they didn't even want to pay money. So they were just bullies. So they
Yeah.
were just like pushing me and.
But the fact that we have to even go through that we're using the legal system as this bully system when there's real subjects out there, and just because you're upset at this time where it's just I don't know,
and
it
and
makes me
I
mad.
was
I'm
and I
sorry.
was stupid. I was stupid. I was trying to uh like get them what they wanted. I was trying to make it work out, and then they just went so overboard that they sent me a letter saying that like my documentary belonged to them. It's like based on what? So
But once
like,
people are difficult, they just they're not gonna. It's not like they're gonna see the light and go, oh, yes. They're
yeah, it
just
was
gonna
just like
continue faking it.
it was just like so crazy, and it's like well, if you think that my documentary belongs to you, like then you owe me a lot of wages because if
Yeah.
you're saying this is a work for hired and you hired me, then you have to pay all the hours I work on this. Like you cannot afford that even if you wanted to go that way. So
The
then I way like
audacity.
yeah, so but then
Like,
again they never even got a lawyer or anything, but they were just like trying to bully me and like
yeah,
getting their way. And so then my lawyer said, well, actually you don't have any right in this because I did everything on my own. So and
yeah,
that's it. Then eventually that nothing else happened. Then eventually I finished it, didn't get into Tribeca obviously, but then I got into a first like a film festival.
yeah.
It was like in June, and it was like a very small film festival. Like it was their first year. So and there are so many film festivals, and if, now everybody wants to have their own film festivals, but it doesn't mean that they are going to actually put effort and actually get people to attend the festival.
Yeah.
So a couple of days or the day before when I reached there, I got an email from the owner of the festival saying that they received a call. Someone is called the theater saying that I don't have the right to my documentary and they're going to sue the movie theater if they screen my documentary. So, and then I had to prove at this point that it was my documentary, which of course I registered already with the copyright. I showed them the letter from my lawyer and everything, so they were fine. But this person called the movie theater to claim to bully them so that they would not screen my documentary. And then on the day of the screening, I see she's in the fourth row, this person that was doing this. So she came to the screening even though it was like a few hours away from where she lived. So she
Is
came
she
and
in the documentary still?
no, she's not.
Oh,
She was just one of the people that traveled with me.
she just
So
traveled to help out. So
yeah, yeah,
she's just
just
trying to claim ownership of the.
yeah. So that's what was happening, and then like she made this scene in the lobby, like telling me that I screwed them and all this, that I was supposed to do this, and that. I'm like my lawyer, like he was like we were saying this. You start threatening me. You start sending me these letters. She didn't even see that. It's like yeah, but where is the contract? Where is the contract? It's like you started threatening me with lawsuit. What contract do you want me to
And
sign?
and you're trying to. It looks bad on you now. You got to sit there and like.
Yeah, now that now sounds like I'm the jerk.
Yeah.
And after that, I think then she watched the documentary, and it was funny because then someone came to me after in front of her saying how much he loved the documentary. So at least I was like, because she was saying anyway that it was horrible and everything, the documentary. So, so then at a certain point they stopped. But I think it was like a year later they actually went to the New York Times, and the New York Times, not about me, but at that point they were starting their own documentary. They found a different director, someone who's an Emmy winner, and the director was. Wanted to make a documentary about Cuomo, but they only wanted like my documentary is all about having regular people talking
Yeah.
about the topic. I want to hear from the people, and they wanted famous people in the documentary to talk because it's fancier. It's all about that glamour. It's about oh we have this famous person talking in the documentary. It's our documentary. Well, I just had the regular people, so it was not fancy enough for them.
They're gonna try
And
and get Cuomo, his thing, his wife,
yeah,
little happening
yeah,
in
he's
Charlotte
not married,
Bennett,
but yeah,
Lindsay
like yeah,
Bolin, and
yeah, they
all the
wanted
other
to have
directors.
him in the documentary, and like so sound like they were trying to get this documentary done, and they got donation from a bunch of people. They were like asking donation from like regular people for the documentary, but again, like even the donation,
Yeah.
they are not for profit, but they're not a 501c3, so hopefully they paid their taxes about that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. But that's what they were getting people to donate. But I think they were like a scam because they were like acting as if like, okay, we are an approved documentary. We're the real documentary about Cuomo. We have this Emmy winner director. At a certain point, one of them on social media wrote that it was a Netflix production.
Yeah.
And one time we had a fight because they were saying, "Oh, I'm a producer because I produced something for this documentary." It's like you gave me two headlines, and in the original documentary there were no headlines. But
Yeah.
she was like, "I researched some headlines for you, well, like five. Then I produced something. That means I'm a producer." It's like that's not what a producer is. And so there was all this craziness, and there were that people said like, no, it's not a Netflix production, but it's like, oh, it's just like he adds some stuff on
But we're
Netflix.
getting to like the real heart of what their problem that they just want the credit for
Yeah, they
doing
want the
nothing. They
credit. They
want
want
credit
to,
for doing nothing.
yeah. So, and yeah, and the fame, the one that's all they care, the glamour about everything without actually putting that work in. And so that was it. But then eventually a year later, so then that documentary never got made, because that's what people do in the movie industry. That's going back to our original topic. A lot of directors, they want to make movies, they get funding to start the movie, then they don't find enough money to finish the movie, and so then they stop. The movie never gets done. Some people may get paid, some people might not get paid for the movie, and then they just run away with the money because they're still getting paid through the money that they raised. And that's what why a lot of movies are not getting made, because people are like that. They just care about the fame, they get the money, and then they run away. So
And to me, that's where we really need the law to protect things like that. That's where
yeah.
the law needs to protect it. Like, we shouldn't allow that to happen. This idea of this wild west of just coming in at the last minute saying, "Well, you can't show that because I don't like." It's like, you were supposed to help. Don't you want this to be seen, or do you? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's
But
that's the
anyway,
thing. Some people are alienated just because of their own personal
yeah,
whatever they care about. And so that documentary never got made, and there were people asking, where's my money? Because then at this point, the probably the director, probably them, who knows who, the money were taken, but they didn't do anything with those money. But
yeah.
also they didn't even tell the people that there was a risk, because normally when you ask for donation, you have to say that there is a risk involved with your donation, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't. They were like, this movie is going to get done because we have a real director.
Yeah.
And of course, and they were not even saying that they did this documentary after I kicked them out of my documentary. So all this
It's all about
story,
optics with them. It's
yeah, it was what it was. And then so they went to the New York Times, saying that they were bullied by Cuomo's sister into making them become a Cuomo supporter group. And so they were acting as a victim, that they were just trying to help the Cuomo family. And then the New York Times, who hates Cuomo, they wrote the article without knowing who these people are, who this, like, they're like
Yeah.
artists. They're not artists in the sense that they do this usually, but multiple times. But there is all this background that the New York Times is not talking about. Who are these people? But they're using the story just so they can attack Cuomo. And this was in 2022. Anytime they could write a story against Cuomo, they would do it. And so they went to the New York Times, trashing Cuomo at this point, just so they could save their face. So
Yeah. Interesting. One thing I wanted to ask you, the Charlotte Bennett thing, when she got the settlement, $450,000, did you
from
ever
the
want to
state.
put yeah, from the state? Why did you not put that in the thing? Did you think it took away
It,
from the
it was
story
after.
that
No,
you
that
were
was
making?
after. That was
That was
after I
after.
finished. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so when did you finish? Immediately.
That was difficult because so
Yeah.
I created the first episode that had the archival footage. The
Yeah.
interviews were pretty much the same. I added some stuff based on what changed, and I cut some other stuff based on what didn't matter anymore
Yeah.
from the original documentary. And then I
Okay.
created the story. So, but every time I was like, okay, I'm done. I thought I finished the editing a year before actually I released it, because I was like, okay, now I finished the editing. And because it's archival footage, I had to go through a fair review with my
Yeah.
lawyer to approve, because I'm not paying for the license for the fees. I'm just
Yeah.
using the clips.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be edited in a way that is, keep pushing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it needs to be edited in a way where it follows the fair use type of rules.
Mhm.
And so I was editing, re-editing based on what my lawyer was saying. So like it was in May of 2024, I thought I finished.
Okay.
And then more stuff happened, because then there was all the nursing home parts that was originally not even part of the documentary, because
Yeah.
my documentary was more focused on the sexual harassment allegation. But then the nursing home became like such a big part of what everybody was talking about. People were talking about at that point in 2024 more about the nursing homes than the sexual harassment allegations. So I added that part, which added 10 minutes more to the documentary. So then you get that approved, and then more things happen that then there
So
was like,
every single time you had to like change something, you have to like go through a whole nother review of the thing. Okay, so that's interesting.
yeah, so that took time. And again, like
Yeah.
even it was frustrating, even that, because lawyers, sometimes it took them like a month for them to respond to my email because they have so many projects and like I'm not the priority, obviously.
Yeah.
Then I'm there for like every time, and every time something new happens, so I'm always going back. Okay. And then in December, I was like, okay, I'm done. I got the insurance because then I had to get insurance, obviously.
Yeah.
But then I had to update my insurance both because it was expiring at that point and because I had to add the fair use.
Yeah.
So then it was December and I was like, okay, now I'm done. And then eventually other few things happened. And then he said he was running in March. So then I had to add at least like the headlines that he was running in March. So that made it okay. After this, I don't have to add anymore. But even after I finished that, which like he announced that like I think it was March 1st of 2025. At that point, once I finished editing, I still have to do all the sound design. I have to
Yeah.
finish the color correction. The music was already done. But even that, and I was doing the sound design all by myself. So I got started with the other episode, obviously, where there were no it was not depending on the clips on the
Yeah.
fair use. But still, even that, while I was doing that, I was trying to research for a way to distribute it because at this point I decided to distribute it by myself. So
Yeah.
getting an aggregator instead of like a distributor. And I
Yeah.
I talked to
How did you come across Apple TV? Because that's pretty big.
yeah, I mean, those platforms actually are nice because they allow independent filmmakers like me to put it on their platforms. So when
Okay.
people hate these platforms, actually, a lot of them, like not Netflix, obviously, Netflix is not open, but Apple TV, Amazon, and other
Wait, what do you mean
platforms,
Netflix isn't open? What do you mean by that?
like you need to be pre-approved by them. They need to
Okay.
approach you.
Oh, I
Like
see.
it's
I see.
not something where like you can through an aggregator you can send them like your material and then they can
Yeah.
decide. Like Apple TV, Amazon is more open to independent filmmakers, so you can
Okay, that's
approach
good.
them as long like Amazon, you can approach them on your own even without an aggregator.
Okay,
Apple
that's great.
TV, you need an aggregator. So an aggregator is kind of like a distributor, but they're not doing.
Middleman kind of
It's
thing.
a middleman, yes. So they're making sure that what you're sending them as the passes the quality control that you have to go. So like the caption, there are no issues with the export, all that kind of stuff. But then they don't take anything like they take a percentage or you pay them a specific something and then it depends on the deal. There are different deals different from the platforms, but it's not like a distributor that the distributor does the marketing for you, and so they take away that kind of rights from you, the
Mhm.
distributor. While and I found like a sales rep, and I spoke to a couple of distributor. But after talking to them, I realized that I'm gonna
Yeah.
just do it by myself because what they can offer me is the same thing that I can do by myself.
Yeah.
And the only thing I don't know how to do is marketing, but let's be honest, they're not
Yeah.
going to put money into
No.
promoting something of like a new filmmaker. So even if they say they're going to put $10,000, they're not going to put that money and they're not going to do anything that matters. So I was like, I'm going to just do it by myself. So I found an aggregator, and I mean, and things like organically worked out or didn't work out at the right timing, I guess. Because
Yeah.
then I was talking to an aggregator. It took them like a month for them to give me a price. Then they told me a price. Then I said, oh, can I do just one platform at the time? They said yes. And then they said, well, actually, no, we told you a lie. So then you're dealing with like all these things, like we are dealing with other companies and then they
Yeah.
do things in their own way. And then every time they take back what they say. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of back and forth.
That
So
sounds.
at this point, while I was waiting for them to give me this answer, I was still editing and like editing, finishing the editing, doing the sound, and I had to do the closed caption because you couldn't put it on a platform without having the closed caption. And a closed
Mm.
caption means the subtitles, but then you have to also write if there is something in the sound that it's important, like the person is laughing, but it might not be obvious if you cannot hear. So it's all about accessibility. So at that point I had to do that, and I it's a super long documentary. People are talking back to back. So if I had to pay someone to write that, it would cost me a fortune. So I decided I'm gonna just do by myself. And
Yeah.
luckily the technology now it's better. Like the transcribing part with AI is much faster. So
Yeah,
at least
that's
you
the good
you
news about AI is AI makes it so that we can do like I think that'll make editing better, you know, especially the
yeah.
color correction. I think that'll be one of the things that will be easier to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about color correction, but definitely like
No,
the
I didn't think so.
subtitles, transcribing, and
Yeah.
even that I there was already before AI a few years ago was already fine, but it helped me. But again, even that it's still a lot of work because normally those software are made for like YouTube videos, so where like the way the subtitle works, it's
Yeah.
very different format than the movie industry. So then having to change everything, and then there are rules like you need to have a maximum of 42 characters
Yeah,
and there should be two frame in between each titles. It needs to be formatted in like two lines, so
yeah.
it's a lot of work. And talking then I found an aggregator that I liked, which very pricing, and then they were like, I don't know, usually we get a lot of problem when it's filmmaker doing that.
Yeah.
And then at this point I was like, I need to release this at least before the primaries, so that like I
Yeah.
can spend time talking about promoting and everything.
Yeah.
And so it was like so hard because they had to check everything,
Right.
like there shouldn't be no problem, and the only thing was missing. And they were checking on them, I was still working on the next episodes. And again, I was doing this while I was working full time, so every second possible I was like coming home and at the end of the night and like doing subtitles and all of that, and learning, making mistakes, because obviously okay, I'm doing the first thing and then I realize, oh, maybe I was supposed to do it this way. And there's so many things that can go wrong. And then I created the subtitles, and then I realized I couldn't export those subtitles with that software. So then I had to do another software. So it was like all this crazy thing. And then magic, miracle, they
Yeah.
approved everything I sent them at the first time. Because even if there was something to fix, I would have to pay more and all of that. So, but luckily I managed to get it done by myself without the mistakes. And so it was the first time technically. So yeah, I made it. I made it
Wow.
my deadline.
So Apple TV was that the one that you wanted the most? Did you think that they were?
It depends. Like obviously Apple TV, it's a big one.
Yeah.
So I wanted Apple TV and Amazon because I always watch through Amazon, but Amazon didn't accept it.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that didn't happen. I'm sad about that. But then I got it on another platform, and now it's also on Tubi, which is
Oh, it
great
is on.
because
Yeah, you got it on
yeah,
Tubi. Yeah, you do.
yeah, so now people can also watch it for free. There is advertisement, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's now it's on 5 platforms, so that people have the chance to decide. And yeah, it was a long story.
Wait. What are the five? So we got Tubi, Apple TV, and what are the other?
Apple TV, it's on YouTube,
Oh, it is
and
on YouTube. Okay.
yeah, you could just search it. It's on YouTube. It's on demand still, and
You
then
have to
it's
pay for it, right?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
all for
Yeah.
pay except Tubi TV. And then there is this platform called Zumo, which is like with the X,
Okay. Yeah,
Zumo,
I've heard of
which
Zoom.
is
Yeah.
yeah, which is one of those free. But I think with that one you need to have a specific device, or you
Okay.
on television, or you can just watch it from the computer. And then it's also on Google Play.
Okay. Then good. All right. That's good. Wow.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a that's a lot of work that you had to go through. But I'm amazed. I mean, you got it done. So, what would you say the future holds for you?
Well, it's hard to say. Right now, I just quit my other job so that I could focus more full time on this, at least for this month, since the
Yeah.
election is in a couple of weeks. I don't know when you're going to release this, but
Yeah.
we're like 2 weeks from the election. So now I was like, the job I was doing, not the Egyptian, I left it 2 years
Okay.
and a half ago. But for a year, I was working both at Egyptian and another place. So I've
Now
been
you're
at
in
that.
LA, right?
I'm still in LA. Yeah, yeah.
You're in LA. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I've been working in different places for like 3 years. And so, but then I was like spending so much time between work and traveling with the bus. I can't,
Yeah.
like, it's impossible for me to do any promotion, to reach out and do anything because I'm doing everything by myself. But if I'm always like working so that I can pay for my debt, because I still have debt obviously for the series.
Yeah.
So So now I decided to quit a couple of weeks ago that job. And just like focus at least for this month on the promotion.
Do you want to stay in documentary world, or do you want to move on to
Yeah.
character
I mean, I
fiction?
like government. I'm
You
still,
want to focus on government?
yeah, I would like eventually, like obviously right now I'm still like, because of my visa and everything, I'm still like in the movie industry. So eventually I would like government. I like this country and I think there is so much work that can be done here. But I also don't like how people are so negative about this country because coming from another country, I can see all the good parts of this country. So in the future, yes, I would like to work in government, I guess. But we'll see. I'm
Okay,
like,
that's awesome.
I'm open.
That's awesome. Okay, this is my Inside the Actors Studio questions that I ask everyone. Do you have a beginning of the day routine?
Probably yes, but that's probably not something politically correct to say. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Usually I just do the usual business in the morning, like
Okay.
doing my bed, making breakfast, exercise, that kind of stuff.
Do you have a nighttime routine?
I like daydreaming a lot. So
Okay.
daydreaming of what I want, like I don't
So
know, some yeah,
visualize.
visualizing, yeah,
That's
like
cool.
how I want my life to be. So that's
That's
my
awesome.
only routine. Like before I go to sleep, I always like dreaming of what I imagine the future to be.
I love that. Do you meditate?
No,
Okay. That's
it's
kind of meditating what
too
you're doing.
mainstream for me. Yeah, it's my own way. I don't like the mainstream meditation stuff, and I'm very hyperactive. So even when I try to go even to places where you do meditation, like
It's
sitting there
hard.
still, it's not for me.
It's hard,
So
but I make myself do it. But yeah, it's everybody's got to get their own form of what they need to do. What do you do for physical fitness?
now it's hard because
Yeah.
before COVID, I was doing martial arts.
Oh
So
wow,
so
that's
that was
awesome.
yeah, that was great. But now since I started making this documentary, I don't have time. I don't have the money to go to a
Yeah.
gym and something like that. So I'm just doing like just some stuff from home. But at the time, I was doing before this documentary, I was doing two different martial arts and I was doing yoga too. And I was also doing archery. There is a place near me, so
Wow.
yeah, I love
Oh,
sports.
very good. That's
So now
great.
I'm like the only thing I do, I just play basketball. There is like a hoop right behind here, so I don't really have time to dedicate. But I just have balls all the time. So either I'm playing soccer in the apartment, or I just go down the hoop and just play basketball. I love that.
That's cool. What are you reading?
Reading books now.
Yeah, books. All right.
Now I'm actually reading this book, learning about my family tree.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, I just learned that I come from this noble family in Italy. So it's a long
Wow.
story, but I've been researching my family tree because I've always been very different from the family that I
Yeah.
come from. Because like I want to do this many things,
Yeah.
like whether it's movies, government, or being around the world. My family is not like that.
Yeah.
And so I started learning more about my family tree and see actually I'm more similar to people in my family tree than actually
What what sign are you? I know that's kind of
Capricorn.
what?
I
What?
have 6 Capricorns in the first house.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm an
it's like
Aries. Okay.
Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Raising Sun, and Virgo Moon.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
What are you listening to?
I usually listen to Italian music actually, but they're like
Oh, okay.
older generation. So it's kind of like the Bob Dylan generation, but in
Okay.
Italy.
Cool.
So they're like similar, more political type of music.
What are you watching?
I don't really watch much stuff anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because I was always working and I can work in the movie theater before. Then there was a time where I was always staying there in the evening, but then I started making my documentary. So in the evening, I would just come home and work. Then I've been working this other place that they do events. So sometimes maybe I used to watch movies there if I was working, but I had so much work to do. So I haven't been really. Well, I saw this amazing movie the other day. I went to a festival. It's
Okay, what
actually a
is it?
movie. It's a movie from Kenya, and it
Okay.
was the submission for the Oscar from Kenya for this
Okay.
year. So good, and it talks about like children like that are like brides children. So it's a fiction movie, but it's based on a true story. and it was really amazing. So well done. I'm so mad that it didn't get to the Oscars because it was so well done and so important, because obviously talk about this topic that it's less talk about, how like in a lot of countries, and like the numbers were like crazy. Like we're talking about like, what was that? 600 millions. They were saying that there are 6 million,
Yeah.
600 millions like children, brides, so around the world. That's terrible. Yeah.
That's great. Anything we haven't touched on that you'd like to touch on before
I
we?
mean, I feel like we talk about so much stuff, and there is so much
Yeah.
stuff that we still didn't talk about.
I
But
know.
yeah, that would take other 10 hours.
I know. I know. We're already going on. It's like the Joe Rogan show. We've gone long.
Now we have to do another episode in the future.
Yeah,
Like come back to talk
just doing
about the
that.
after.
Exactly. How can people reach you?
I mean, social media, obviously, it's good. So it's Twitter. This is what New Yorkers say. They can just find that, or they can go to the website. thisiswhatnewyorkerssay.com. So they can find the email. Just they're all the same, pretty much. This is what newyorkerssay@gmail.com. If they want to reach out to me by email, it's on Twitter, Facebook. They can follow the YouTube. So yeah, the usual channels.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great. We talked about so many things that I even forgot. I know.
We've gone far. All right. Well, thank you for being on the DMF.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.